All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into The Enchanted Horse
Mhm.
by Magdalen Nabb. And what really struck me when I first read this story? It's amazing how much depth and meaning she managed to pack into what, on the surface, seems like a simple children's story, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like those really resonate even when you're reading it as an adult. And it's particularly intriguing considering you specifically were drawn to stories that offer quick yet thorough insights.
Exactly. Like, I love those aha moments where everything just clicks and you get this whole new understanding. And this book, it's full of them,
Mm.
but always in this really gentle way. And then there's that touch of magic, which just adds to the charm.
Yeah, definitely. So we've pulled together all sorts of stuff for this deep dive. Plot summaries, of course, but also some deeper dives into the characters, what those underlying themes are all about, even some background info on Magdalen Nabb herself. It's going to be a really well-rounded exploration, I think.
I'm excited to really unpack this one. I think we can all relate to those feelings of loneliness, the joy of true friendship, and the bittersweet experience of letting go. This book really gets to the heart of those themes, and I think there's a lot we can learn from it about ourselves and about the world around us. So where should we begin?
Well, let's start with Irina, the heart of this story.
Okay, yeah, she's the main character, right?
Exactly. She's this young girl living on a very isolated farm. And the way Nab sets the scene right from the start, you immediately get this sense of her being alone.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Like, she's responsible for all these farm chores, even though she's so young.
Yeah,
And there's this constant longing for connection because there are no other kids around.
exactly. And that really lays the groundwork for her yearning for companionship.
And even though she's young, you really get the sense that she's got this profound, depth to her emotions. And she's so observant, like when she spots that wooden horse all alone in the junk shop.
That's so key, I think.
It's like she sees a reflection of her own feelings in this inanimate object. She sees its loneliness, and I think that's what draws her to it. It speaks volumes about how attuned she is to her surroundings, and maybe even her own unarticulated need for a friend.
Yeah, definitely. It's subtle, but it's brilliant the way Nab establishes Irina's character and inner world.
So that brings us to Bella, the horse herself.
Now, Bella isn't your typical shiny new toy, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
She's described as old Dusty missing her rockers.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly something a kid would normally be thrilled about.
Right. But Irina is drawn to her precisely because she seems sad and neglected.
It's almost like Irina senses that Bella needs her just as much as she needs Bella.
And it's the care that Irina shows Bella that really sets the stage for the magic to happen.
Yeah, she doesn't treat Bella like a toy. It's more like a living creature.
Mm.
She gives her a name, brushes her mane, talks to her.
It's that genuine affection that breathes life into Bella. And I think that's a beautiful illustration of how our beliefs and the way we treat others can shape our reality.
Now let's talk about the junk shop owner. He's blind, which is such an interesting choice by Nab. What do you think the significance of that is?
Well, I think there are a few layers to it. Firstly, his blindness could symbolize a different way of seeing. He might not see the world in a conventional way, but he seems to have this deeper understanding, this insight into people's hearts and souls.
Like, he sees Irina's loneliness, and he recognizes that Bella could be the answer to that,
Yeah.
even though she's just this old wooden horse.
Exactly. And there's also the fact that he gives Irina the horse without any payment.
Yeah, he doesn't even hesitate. It's like he knows how much he needs Bella.
It suggests that he understands the true value of things. It's not about money for him. It's about kindness and recognizing a need and fulfilling it.
And I find it fascinating that he tells this story about a horse named Bella from his own past.
Oh, yeah, that adds this whole other layer to the story, doesn't it?
It's like there's this history of a connection that goes beyond just this one wooden horse.
And then there's his advice: never say that any creature on this earth is yours. It's so simple yet so profound.
It's almost like a warning, isn't it?
Exactly, because it foreshadows Bella's eventual departure, and it highlights this key theme of the story: the inherent freedom of all living beings.
And coming from the blind man, it carries even more weight, I think. It's like he understands something about the natural world that most of us miss.
Absolutely. Now, we should also talk about Irina's parents.
Yeah, they're such an important part of the story, too,
Yeah.
even though they're not always present.
Right. They're portrayed as really hardworking people. Their lives are consumed by the demands of the farm.
And they love Irina, but they're often preoccupied and maybe not as emotionally available as she needs them to be.
It's not that they're intentionally unkind, but their focus is on the practicalities of life, keeping the farm running. And sometimes that overshadows Irina's emotional needs.
And that makes Bella's companionship even more vital for her.
Oh, absolutely. Bella provides that unconditional love and understanding that Irina might be missing from her interactions with her parents.
And then the magic really kicks in. They go on these amazing nighttime adventures.
Oh, yeah. Those flights are pure magic.
Imagine being a child in such an isolated place and suddenly you have this incredible freedom to soar through the night sky with your best friend. It's just pure joy and liberation.
And yet, throughout those adventures, the blind man's warning lingers in the back of our minds.
That reminder that Bella is more than just a toy, that she has her own wild spirit that can't be contained forever.
Which leads to the heartbreaking moment when Bella leaves.
To join a herd of wild horses.
Yeah.
Such a powerful scene full of sadness, but also this deep understanding.
It's where Irina truly grasps the meaning of the blind man's words. Letting go of Bella is the most loving thing she can do.
It's a lesson in true love, recognizing that sometimes wanting what's best for someone means letting them go, even if it breaks your heart.
And that's such a profound message, especially for a children's book. It teaches us about the importance of respecting the freedom of others, even when it's difficult.
But the story doesn't end there, does it?
No, Bella eventually returns, and she brings with her an injured foal.
Which brings a whole new layer of responsibility for Irina.
But this time she understands that this care is temporary. She knows that she'll eventually have to let the foal go too, just like she let Bella go.
It's a beautiful illustration of the cycle of life and the ever-evolving nature of love and connection.
It's really about coming to terms with the temporary nature of things and recognizing that letting go is often an act of love.
So many powerful themes are woven into this seemingly simple story.
Oh, absolutely. We've got loneliness, friendship, imagination, love, and care. But at its core, I think it's a story about learning to let go.
That's what really resonated with me. It's a lesson that's relevant for everyone, no matter what age you are. Learning to let go of the things we love can be so difficult, but it's often the most loving thing we can do.
And it's a lesson that's reinforced by the blind man's words. Never say that any creature on this earth is yours. It's a reminder that true love isn't about possession. It's about respecting freedom and wanting what's best for the other.
I think that's a beautiful message to leave our listeners with. But before we wrap up, there are some other stories that explore similar themes that might be worth checking out.
Yeah, if you enjoyed the magical element and the bittersweet farewell in The Enchanted Horse, I highly recommend Raymond Briggs' The Snowman.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
And for anyone who loved the bond between Irina and Bella, there are some amazing horse stories out there. Anna Sewell's Black Beauty is a must-read.
Oh, yeah. And Marguerite Henry's Misty of Chincoteague and Walter Farley's The Black Stallion are great choices, too.
And if you're looking for more heartwarming stories about the relationships between children and animals, Michael Morpurgo is a fantastic author. His books War Horse and On Angel Wings are so moving.
And we can't forget about The Velveteen Rabbit by Marjorie Williams Bianco. It explores the theme of a toy becoming real through love, which has a lot of parallels with The Enchanted Horse.
For something a little lighter, but still full of imagination and heart, I always recommend Roald Dahl. His books are just pure fun. Matilda, The Twits, The BFG, George's Marvelous Medicine. There's something for everyone.
And for a slightly more mature read that delves into imagination and magical beings, George MacDonald's At the Back of the North Wind is a great choice.
Now I think it's time to talk a little bit about Magdalen Nabb herself. She led such an interesting life.
Yeah, she was born in England but spent much of her life in Italy.
And she wasn't just a children's author. She also wrote this really successful series of mystery novels set in Florence, featuring Marshall Garnaccia.
Which is pretty amazing. It shows her versatility as a writer.
And get this, before she was a writer, she was a potter.
That's so cool. It makes you wonder if her experience with shaping clay influenced her storytelling in some way.
The Enchanted Horse was a really special book for her. It won the Smarties Book Prize in 1993, which is a pretty big deal in the world of children's literature.
It shows how much the story resonated with readers young and old.
There's also this theory that the early loss of her father might have influenced her sensitive portrayal of children's emotions in her stories.
It makes sense, doesn't it? Like maybe it gave her a deeper understanding of loss and resilience.
And this is really heartwarming. She was a huge animal lover, particularly horses, and she actually donated all the earnings from the Enchanted Horse to an animal charity.
That's so beautiful. It shows how deeply she connected with the message of the story.
It's clear that she really lived by the values of kindness and compassion that she wrote about.
Absolutely. In addition to The Enchanted Horse, she also wrote other children's books like Twilight Ghost and the Josie Smith series, as well as those adult crime novels.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's clear that The Enchanted Horse is more than just a charming children's story. It's a profound exploration of empathy, love, freedom, and the power of imagination.
It teaches us about the importance of letting go and recognizing that true love isn't about possession, but about respecting the freedom of others.
It's a story that stays with you long after you've finished reading it, and it leaves you with this warm feeling and a deeper understanding of what it means to truly love and care for another being.
And I think that's what makes it so special. It manages to be both heartwarming and thought-provoking at the same time.
Now, here's a final thought for you to consider.
Yeah.
Think about a time in your own life when you had to let go of someone or something you loved deeply. What did that experience teach you about love and connection? It's often in those moments of letting go that we discover the true meaning of those words.
That's a great question to ponder.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Enchanted Horse.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Bye for now.